Welcome to Colonie TV, the governmental educational channel for the town of Colonie.
I'm Supervisor Paula Mahan, and welcome to Colonie Connect. Today I have a special guest, Chreitien Voerg, Superintendent of our Pure Waters Department. There's a lot going on in Pure Waters, so I think that you can give us a little bit of an idea of some of the new things coming up. But before we get into the new projects that are coming up in Pure Waters, and I think you're going to have to define Pure Waters. So, Craig, if you could give me a little bit of a background for our audience regarding the Division of Pure Waters and what services the division provides.
I'd love to, thank you, and thanks for having me here this morning.
Thank
it's
you
very
for being
important
here.
for us to get our message out to the public and out to our customers about some of the great services that Pure Waters provides to our residents. Pure Waters, in simpler terms, is the sanitary sewer department for the town of Colonie.
Okay.
Pure Waters is a program that was started in the 60s and 70s to try to correct some of the pollution that had happened in New York State and throughout the country, and Pure Waters was a program that was started. We took it on and adopted the name Pure Waters to be more part of that program at the time, but we're technically the sanitary sewer department.
Okay.
We collect, transport, and treat sanitary wastewater within the town of Colonie to one of two treatment plants for treatment prior to discharge to either the Mohawk or the Hudson Rivers.
Okay, and a lot of people get Pure Waters confused with our Latham Water District. So now when they hear the term Pure Waters, they can connect that to the sanitary source, so they know the difference. But I do understand, as you just explained that, why they would adopt the name Pure Waters. Makes more sense now.
Yes, and we do get those confusing phone calls very often, but as the sanitary sewer department, we do handle the sanitary waste separate from the storm sewer in the town. The storm sewer waste is handled by our Division of Highway through the Stormwater Management Office. Okay. So we do have completely separate sanitary and storm sewer systems in the town.
So what is actually the difference between sanitary and stormwater?
That's one of the most important questions to answer for our customers, to make sure that they know that there is a very distinct difference between sanitary and stormwater. Sanitary wastewater is the water that's collected from your toilet, your sink, your showers, washing machines. It is contaminated water that's been contaminated with biological and chemical contaminants, and we collect that in a series of pipelines and pumps for treatment at our treatment plants prior to discharge into the environment. Stormwater is uncontaminated water that's collected from roof drains, from road runoff, and from your sump pump or footing drains around the bottom of your foundation. That is transferred directly into the environment with no treatment, so it is absolutely critical that we keep these two systems separate. And luckily for us here in the town of Colonie, our predecessors had the foresight to understand how critical it was to keep these systems separated. So unlike some of the cities and the older systems where they have a combined sewer, where storm and sanitary are conveyed in one pipeline, the town of Colonie is equipped 100% with separate sewer systems. So
obviously, it's, as you said, it's very important to collect and treat the sanitary water.
Yes, the sanitary wastewater is inherently contaminated, as I mentioned, with bacteria and viruses. At any given time in our community, people are sick, and most of the contaminants, biological contaminants, are transferred through wastewater. So that's why we see such a large disparity between the first world and third world with diseases such as cholera and dysentery and typhoid fever. Cholera in particular is a very virulent disease that is prevalent in Haiti right now, Mexico. The latest disease reports coming out of those countries, we're looking at in Haiti alone over the last 3 years, 8,500 people have died from cholera.
Wow, that is
and in the United
sad.
States, we do not see that type of epidemic because of water and wastewater treatment.
Yes, and I've noticed just following the news and reading the papers, there are a lot of municipalities that are dealing with some serious issues with the wastewater getting into the drinking water or whatever, and getting into the river. The Hudson River, I've read a lot about that, and it looks like they're going to be doing a tremendous amount of work to correct that. So it sounds like we're a little ahead of the game in that area.
Yes, the town of Colonie is very fortunate with our leadership and separating our sewer systems and to continually reinvest in our infrastructure. And that's probably one of the greatest challenges facing our organization today is aging infrastructure.
Yes, which affects every municipality around us and throughout the state, throughout the nation. And so we see lots of infrastructure work being done in many areas. And this is an area that obviously we all need to look at. So how exactly is the wastewater collected and treated at the plant? I know we have our plant on Onderdonk Road.
Yes.
And so exactly how does that process work?
It's an interesting process, and most of our customers are completely aware of the complexity that's involved in collecting, transporting, and treating wastewater before it's discharged in the environment. Most of the pipelines that leave your house are the lowest pipeline in the building because we utilize gravity whenever we can to allow wastewater, which is mostly water, to be conveyed downhill. So starting at your house, in your basement, you may see caps or pipes that are leaving the house. That's usually the highest point in our system, and we go downhill from there.
Okay.
So pipelines are leaving your home, service connections. We have approximately 25,000 service connections in the town of Colonie. About 96% of the town's improved properties are provided with public sewer service. Those lines connect to a gravity sewer in the street that flows downhill to the point where it's economically not feasible to construct sewers at depths of 60, 70, 100 feet deep. So what we will do is construct a wastewater pumping station at those locations, which is really an underground tank with pumps and instrumentation to run autonomously 24 hours a day. That system collects wastewater, and as those underground tanks fill, the pumps will turn on and off appropriately, push that wastewater to another collection system, and that process continues until ultimately that waste reaches the treatment plant.
Okay.
And then at the treatment plant, we utilize a number of physical, chemical, and biological unit processes to clean wastewater and deactivate these pathogenic organisms, whether they bacteria or viruses, before we discharge that water into the environment.
Okay. Very, very serious business here. I mean, you can see how we are in our country, as you said, the effects, the negative effects on some of these other countries around the world. It's really sad that in today's day, people are getting sick and dying because they don't have the proper systems. But fortunately, in our country, we're ahead of the game, and especially in our town, we're very fortunate to have the system we have. How many pump stations do we actually have throughout the entire town?
We have 28 of these remote facilities that operate 24 hours a day.
Okay.
And those systems are fed by a network of 400 miles of pipelines, strictly sanitary. There's also an equal number of drinking water and stormwater pipelines in the town. So 400 miles of pipeline convey waste to these pump stations, which then ultimately convey the waste to our treatment plant on Onderdonk Road.
Okay. And how old is the town system again?
Well, we've seen a lot of growth over the years as Colonie has grown, the sewer system has grown. The majority of the pipelines in the town of Colonie were installed in the 70s, though we do have sewers dating back to the early 1900s in the Maplewood area of town.
Wow.
And newer sewers as development continues in the town. We see new systems added really each year to our network continues to expand. With that said, the majority, probably 80% of our system, is going to see the end of its useful life in the next 25 years because pipelines and pumps, just as any other piece of equipment that operates, does have a useful life. And it's very important for us to be proactive and foresee the reinvestments that's necessary in order to continue our operations of providing great service to our customers.
Yes. And when our customers actually take a look at what Pure Water's, what the department does, you and your staff do on a daily basis to ensure that you know, everything is the way it should be. It definitely is a necessity that we can't do without in our homes, for sure, to be able to have everything working properly. And it's kind of, we had a laugh, I think it was a couple of months ago, but it was actually, is there actually a national toilet day or something like that?
There was, yes, actually recently in November there was World Toilet Day.
World Toilet Day.
And
okay.
World Toilet Day is a day, an event that's really reserved to expand the need for sanitary facilities in the world. And we use humor
yes.
in that day in order to just bring attention, because wastewater is something that most people do not want to talk about.
It's not the most pleasant thing, but certainly to have a system that works properly, we definitely have to have that. So I think when you get down to the bottom of it, people they do understand how important your work is. But it was just it was something I've never heard of, and I'll bet our listeners, the majority of them, have never heard of World Toilet Day. So.
Well, hopefully next November we'll have that message out, and more people will understand the need for sanitary facilities and what an economic development it is for municipalities, and really for everywhere in the world, in the developed world,
right.
that we rely on water and wastewater treatment in order to have excellent recreational opportunities as well as economic development, so that we can have the homes, the businesses, and the opportunities that are available for us here in Colonie, really because of water and wastewater treatment.
Right. Now, you said some of the system is from many years ago, and then we have the new portions from the new development. But as we look at the whole system today and try to project the future, what are things that we're doing now so that we will have you know, continued operation and everything running the way it should be running, and so that we're sure that our sanitary infrastructure is in the best shape we can keep it, not just now, but going forward into the future. So I know we have some plans. We have a long-term plan. We have a lot of things going on, and of course, you guys are always busy. You're never bored, that's for sure. But we do have to prepare for the future. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about the future plans.
Sure. We have a fantastic staff at Pure Waters, and that really what allows us to operate on the day-to-day basis in such the efficient manner that we do. Our staff are highly trained. We have people who work in our administration, collection, and our treatment sections of the division that operate with customers, trying to help us get permits established, looking forward to the future as far as these developments that are coming forward, to make sure that these systems are planned out on a comprehensive basis, so that we're not looking at individual systems, but we're looking at the future of the town as a whole. And we have our staff in our collection system that continually, every day, are keeping our systems in operation. Though they maintain our pumps, they clean pipelines, they address service calls with our customers, and we also have our staff at the treatment plant who are certified by New York State to operate these facilities. They are highly trained in chemistry, biology, and physics in order to keep that system as operationally efficient as we can. So those are the day-to-day operations that our staff are committed to our customers and committed to the environment. We also have our long-term operations and maintenance plans that we're working on now with the town board and with our commissioner, Jack Cunningham, to make sure that we plan for these future system replacements, that as our system approaches the end of its useful life in the next 30, 40 years, that we have a plan in place to make sure we spread the financial impact out as evenly as we can. So we do a number of things to try to analyze the most effective way to utilize our financial resources in the town. We prioritize our projects using consequence and probability evaluations, the probability of failure versus the consequence, and we're continually analyzing our system to make sure that we invest in our infrastructure in the most cost-effective means possible for our customers.
Okay, so you now, and you work on this analysis with your staff? Is that how we're Is that how we're approaching that?
Yes, our staff, we have a very technical staff that we get together as groups, and we are continually feedback with our staff in the field, that we receive information from them regarding problem areas that we need to address. We feed those into our systems with our inspectors and technicians in the office so that we can better plan for our future rehabilitation before catastrophic consequences happen, before we have catastrophic failures in our system. That's really our plan, is to address these problems before they become unreasonable. Really wise, if we plan for these now, we'll spend less money on the repairs than we do if we wait for an emergency.
And that's what that's what we need to do, because we have so much infrastructure in many different departments that we need to take care of, not just now, but I know in my position, I'm always thinking of what's coming in the future, and how are we going to leave things for the future generation, and as you say, how do we prioritize and move in an efficient manner so that we can work with the finances that we have at this point in time, the monies that we have now, and planning to go forward is a better plan. It's better to be proactive than to get 5-6 years down the road or whatever and have everything happen at once, and then it's sometimes too much and you can't take care of it. So I think a proactive approach is certainly the right way to go. And you and your staff do a fantastic job. How many between the plant and the rest of the staff that's out in the field, how many do you have altogether? How many?
Across our entire division, in order to collect all of the wastewater in the town of Colonie and transport it to our treatment facility, treat it and discharge it, we have 28 employees that handle that entire operation.
Now, when you look at the size of the town, it's over about 57 square miles, and we have over about 82,000 people, and we have a lot of businesses in town. And 28 people handling all of that. You've got a big job, and they've got a big job to meet our needs. So.
And we are there 24 hours a day. Yeah. Our systems never shut down. They are in operation all day, every day.
So it's not only a cost-effective system, but it's a successful department that's meeting the needs of today and tomorrow, and under your supervision with 28 in total, that's fantastic. So I know that the people of Colonie appreciate the work that you and your staff do. And going forward, many municipalities are facing big challenges. We talked about that a little while ago, but what are the main challenges in simple terms? How can you explain that to our viewers? What challenges are we facing? You talked a little bit about the process and the plan going forward and everything, but in simple terms, what are our major challenges ahead?
Well, I feel our challenges fall into two major categories: operational and administrative. Our administrative challenges include the capital planning and future replacement rehabilitation of our infrastructure, our dealing with unfunded mandates that come down. We're a highly regulated industry, and it's very important for us to meet the challenges that are given to us by our regulators as cost effective and efficiently as we can. And those are really our administrative challenges as far as dealing with our infrastructure and planning for the future. Okay. Our operational challenges are the day-to-day aspects of the sewer system that our staff see in the field and at the treatment plant. Those issues are customer driven, that we can actually have our customers have a very critical role in maintaining and operating our sewer system. So based upon the materials that they discharge into the system, and maintaining their own sewer systems will actually be a benefit to the town and be a benefit to them in the end by keeping our user rates low.
Okay. And
some of those things that the customers can do is keeping those storm and sanitary sewer systems separate is absolutely critical. Our sanitary sewer network was designed to only handle sanitary wastewater. And for our customers that have sump pumps and footing drains, roof drains connected into the sanitary sewer system, when it rains, that overloads our system.
Yeah.
And it affects our ability to effectively collect and transport and treat waste. We pump a lot of the wastewater that comes into our facility, so all of that uncontaminated water requires electricity, requires chemicals, and manpower. So the more our customers can help us by keeping their sanitary and storm sewer systems separate, the better it is for our system, the better it is for our environment, and the lower our rates will be in the future. And that's something our staff, we have technical staff that are available to all of our customers. If someone isn't sure that their sump pumps or footing drains are connected, we'd be happy to come out and go through their system with them and see if we can make some suggestions on how to improve.
That's great, because I think a lot of people get confused, because I think, many years ago, it was common for people to hook up into the sanitary sewer system. And so it is a little confusing for people, because stormwater, the emphasis on collecting stormwater and really managing it, it's fairly new. I mean, we've had a division for quite a while in town, and we work a lot with developers on making sure that is, taken care of as far as the stormwater and everything is separate. But I think a lot of people really don't understand the difference between the two systems.
You're absolutely correct, and mainly in some of the older sections of town.
Yes.
And there really is no exception within the town code for the cross connection of sanitary and storm sewer systems. We do have a number of customers say, well, my home is old, so I'm grandfathered in. But because the town had the foresight back in the early 1900s to install separate systems right from the beginning, there is no exception as far as connection of storm sewer into sanitary network.
Well, we did a pretty large project, I think it was a few years back, in the Blue Creek area.
Yes.
That was a big project that had a lot to do with our systems.
And trying to keep sanitary and storm sewer systems separate. And we had some great response from our neighbors in that area. We sent out notices to our customers about the importance of keeping these systems separated. We had our technical staff available, and met with a number of the homeowners in the area, almost 1,200, to go through and see if there's ways that we can readily remove these cross connections in order to be more efficient and effective for our customers.
Yeah, and I know that whole process was quite involved, and as you say, the residents were very involved in the whole process, and that's what helps to make everything work. When we can work together and everyone can be educated, so that we know what to expect and we know what the problems are. And we're going to be doing a big project coming up in the Sand Creek Road area. That's another big project coming up.
Yes, we have some very exciting projects coming up for Pure Water. Sand Creek Road is a great example of coordinations amongst multiple divisions, where we have water, sewer, and highway improvements all happening at the same time in order to minimize the impacts to our customers throughout that area. And in that project as well, there will be new storm sewer connections provided to every property owner along Sand Creek Road within the project limits, so that anyone who does have a cross connection between sanitary and storm can remove that sump pump connection and provide it to the correct location.
Yes, and we met with we've had a couple of different meetings with the neighbors, town hall meetings right in their local firehouse, and we've had some good presentations, and the presentations really answered a lot of questions. And I know for myself, it's easier to understand when you can see it in different forms, whether it's in a visual or people are talking about it and explaining it, and then also having a visual with it to take a look and see what's really going to happen. And I think that's helpful, and it's helpful to be prepared for how the plan's going to proceed, because then you know what to expect, and it relieves a lot of stress and anxiety, so you're not thinking about, oh, what are they going to do with this road, where are we going to go, how are we going to get there, if we have detours or this or that. So we obviously try to have the least impact when we do these big projects on the residents, but there are times when we just have to dig in and do what we need to do. So, but the Sand Creek Road project is another big project coming up. One question I have is, throughout the entire town, do you have any idea how much of the town is lacking in sewer systems? They're not hooked into our system. I don't think there are too many areas left in town.
We have some small isolated pockets within the town that it has been difficult and challenging to provide public sewer service. Those areas, as we discussed before, using topography, using gravity to convey sewage, it tends to be either the flat areas or some of the steeper hilly areas where it is a challenge to provide sewer service. However, we provide public sewers to more than 95% of the developed properties within the town of Colonie. There's a very small number that are on septic systems. And then there's a number of vacant parcels for which sewer service hasn't been provided yet because we're not sure how those areas will develop.
That's a high, 95% is a high, that's a very high percentage. So that's good to hear. One other quick question before we close. You know, as you know, I was an educator before becoming supervisor for many years. And I know that you work with an organization with students from Colonie Central.
Yes.
And maybe you could just give us a brief overview of your work there, because I think it's, I really commend you for taking the time to volunteer to do that.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I've been involved with an organization at Colonie Central High School called Project Lead the Way, which is a nationally recognized high school level pre-engineering program that provides coursework to high school students to prepare them for leadership roles in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And as the chairperson of the partnership team, I coordinate local engineers who volunteer their time at night to go to the high school, meet with students, help them along their engineering way, and also to provide feedback to them on their programs, their projects. It's an exciting program that's going to keep us, the United States, as a leader in science and technology.
I think it's wonderful that you're doing that. And so as a former educator, I thank you for doing that for our students in town. And we are just about out of time. So I want to thank you so much for being here today. You answered a lot of questions about our Pure Waters division that we just don't seem to talk a lot about. And we've got some great projects going forward into the future, some current projects as well as future projects. So I want to thank you for doing an outstanding job as the superintendent of the Pure Waters Division. I want to thank all your staff for the great work that they do. They're hard jobs, and I know the residents and all of us in town really appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here with us, and thank you for tuning in to Colonie Connect.